1, 2, 3!
Shalom Dammit! Bruchim habaim to my brand new television program on this fine yet overpriced cable network. My name is Rabbi Sol Solomon, and I am the spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. I have been rabbi for 15 years, everyone a challenge, everyone a delight. My congregants range from adorable little babies who laugh and smile and poop themselves to tired old men who cry and complain and poop themselves. They are all my flock. All are seeking a respite and solace from this difficult world in which we live. Can I help them? But I understand them. I know what my people are going through. And if I don't, Hashem is always there to help me fake it. Now, my synagogue is small. It's so small, the Ark of the Covenant has to double as a broom closet, which has led to some unfortunate incidents with the janitor, let me tell you. My shul is so small, the mezuzah doubles as aluminum siding. Oh my God, my shul is so small. We have to do Yom one day and Kippur the next. But seriously, my friends, I reach maybe a few dozen people a week. We read the Torah, say our prayers, they hear my sermons. Maybe in total, I'm touching 50 or 60 people. Well, not touching in the, hello, I'm Father O'Malley, here's my penis kind of a way. No, I mean touching in a soul-to-soul connection. And don't get me wrong, I get much personal satisfaction from helping the sheep in my flock. But I look around, and everybody's on the internet, everybody's listening to iPods, everybody's writing into their telephones, which, let's face it, is a retarded thing to do. Why do you have a telephone if you're going to type into it? Alexander Graham Bell busted his tuchus inventing a way for people to talk to each other. So what do? Oh, talking takes too long. I'd rather type to you. Everywhere I go, idiots text messaging each other on a telephone. It's like breaking a light bulb and then melting the glass to build a candle. What the hell is wrong with people? Anyway, I'm not completely against modern technology. With God's brilliance passed down to man, we have air conditioning, Shabbos clocks, MRI machines, and television. So, it occurred to me, schmuck, why are you talking to 50 or 60 people when you could go on Cablevision of Long Island and reach at least 15 or 20 more? And the germ was planted for my own television show. This germ was watered and pruned and fertilized, and now it's an epidemic. Now, I'm certainly not the first Rebbe to be on television, and God knows I'm not the best. For example, everybody's heard of Rabbi Gelman. No, not the guy who tolerates Regis. Rabbi Mark Gelman on the God Squad on TV with that priest with Parkinson's. They're good guys. The rabbi tells jokes, the priest smiles a lot and talks very quiet. It's good television and people like them. And then you've got the telethon guys, Rabbi Cunin on the Chabad extravaganza. That's the one where everybody's dancing and singing and praying to Jerry Weintraub. And I watch every year and I donate and I enjoy. And all I can think of is, what the hell is Edward James Olmos doing there? He's like a Slim Jim and a box of macaroons. Edward James Olmos, go do a Spanish thing. Stop putzing around with John Voight and a bunch of chassids. And then there's the Hanukkah telethon on Long Island with Rabbi Pearl. He's the one that dresses up like a dreidel and shows children how to roll matzah. His telethon makes less money. In fact, he wishes he could get Edward James Olmos. But he's very sweet and he's very personable. And quite honestly, personality-wise, he makes me look like Hitler. And then you had the Rebbitzin, Esther Jungreis. Brilliant woman, but she talks so slow. Every half-hour show feels like a mini-series. People go to her for marriage counseling. By the time she finishes her sermon, they're married, divorced, remarried, and dead. Still, I obviously have quite a legacy of televised rabbis to live up to. But I believe I have something to offer, even if it's just my penchant for putting it all out there, saying what I feel because I feel what I say. I'm not going to feed you fairy stories about angels and a million rules and regulations about whether fish goes with ice cream or whether a sponge is kosher or not. I'm here to give you a taste of Judaica my way, the Rabbi Sol Solomon way. And if you don't like it, go watch Oprah. But if you can take a half hour out of your life and give it to me, I will reward you with stories, with sermons, with vaguely amusing anecdotes. And for more serious scholars among you, we will also have the Daf Shavua Torah study. We'll read from the Torah in English and analyze and dissect and try to reach some understanding of what the hell God is talking about. You know He's unknowable. I know He's unknowable. But it's the attempt to follow His ways that makes us better people, smarter people, and a little meshigah. So, without further ado, welcome to Shalom Dammit. On with the show. What time is it? That's right, it's quiz time, everybody! Time to test your Judaic knowledge on a multitude of subjects. Don't be nervous, you will not be graded on this. This quiz has no such thing as failure. You just feel stupid if you're wrong. Okay, the kosher quiz. Our first question is multiple choice. Bob Dylan, Rod Serling, Harvey Fierstein, Harrison Ford. One of these people is only half Jewish. One of these people has mixed blood. They're partly old and partly newish. The singer, the writer, the fag, the stud. One of these 4 Jewish celebrities has only one Jewish parent. Is it Bob Dylan, Twilight Zone creator Rod Serling, expressive actor Harvey Fierstein, or non-expressive actor Harrison Ford? And the answer is Harrison Ford. His mother was Jewish, but his papa was a Catholic. No wonder he couldn't find the lost ark. Okay, did you get it right? Are you brushing your lapels for guessing correctly? Well, don't get too cocky, damn it. Here's kosher question number 2. Which came first, the Talmud or the Mishnah? Which of these great studies was written first, the Talmud or the Mishnah? If you said the Talmud, you're wrong. Wrong, 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 and wrong again. In the 2nd century of the Common Era, Rabbi Judah compiled and organized all the laws written about the Torah. Until then, generation after generation, all the rabbis had simply debated, and then they passed down their commentary orally, in a herpes-like manner, if you will. Rabbi Judah saw that this was unmanageable. So, in the 2nd century, he wrote it all down, 63 volumes of rabbinical commentary on the Torah that we call the Mishnah. But, Jews being Jews, this wasn't enough. Jews began to debate and argue about the Mishnah for 3 more centuries. That's when a group of rabbis wrote down all this extra commentary into something called the Gemara. Not Gomorrah like Sodom and Gomorrah, although if there are Jewish laws governing sodomy, they're explained in the Mishnah and then debated and elaborated upon in the Gemara. You put the Mishnah and the Gemara together, and that's what we call the Talmud. You got it? Mishnah first, then Gemara, then the Talmud. How you doing on the quiz so far? Are you making your old Hebrew teacher proud? Okay, one more question. Let's see how you do. It's another multiple choice question, so don't panic. Who is the author of this famous Jewish quote? Im ein ani li, mi li. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? Very famous and beautiful quote about what it means to stand up for yourself and for others. Im ein ani li, mi li. Who wrote it? Was it Bob Dylan, Rod Serling, Harvey Fierstein, or Hillel? Okay, I thought I'd give you an easy one because the answer is more important than the question. That phrase was written by Hillel, a great scholar who lived in the 1st century BCE. He was very popular and appointed head of the Jewish high court. He lived to a ripe old age, and he was also the teller of the famous story about the rude young man who stops him on the street. The young man says, I'm interested in Judaism, but I don't have any time. Can you teach me everything I need to know about Judaism while I stand here on one foot? And Hillel looks at this yotz, and instead of doing what I would have done, which is kick him in the kneecap and run, Hillel says, 1 foot, huh? All right, here is all of Judaism, short and sweet. Don't do anything to another person that you wouldn't want them doing to you. That's it. Everything else is commentary. With tears in his eyes, the other man hopped away. But what a beautiful legacy. Do unto others. Treat others the way you expect to be treated. All the rest is argument and explanation. 63 volumes of it, plus commentary. Well, I hope you enjoyed the kosher quiz. And now, as Hillel might say, if I don't get on with the show, who will? Shalom Dammit, and welcome to the most important part of this television program. Sure, we've had some laughs, we've had a little heart-to-heart, maybe some furious arguments, but remember, I'm a rabbi, a teacher, a guide. And what guides me, besides the FCC? This book, the Torah. The Bible, the light of our lives and the lessons of our loins. Now there are 5 books of the Bible that Hashem gave to Moses when he was on Mount Sinai, 1400 years ago. Think of it like Harry Potter. God is spinning this fantastic tale, and Moses is saying, wow, this is brilliant, let me get this all down, tell me more, more, more. And Hashem is like, 1 book at a time? And you have to get all the way to the end to find out how it comes out. And it took 5 books, and then more books of history, of Psalms, of Proverbs. And of course, after that, you have the New Testament. Now, all Jews, whether deeply Orthodox or modern Reformed or misinformed, we all take the Torah as the ground zero of our faith, with all that that implies. Some of us interpret the Bible very strictly, down to the letter of the letter. Some of us realize that the books were written a long time ago, and we're too busy programming our TiVos to steal our neighbor's oxen. So there's wiggle room, a little, in the interpretation and the utility of the Pentateuch. But when push comes to Shavuos, the book, this book, still has the answers. Or at least the clues that lead you to the answers. Or at least the hints that will intrigue your rabbi to lead you to the answers. Or the ideas that will spark arguments among his rabbis so that he can be intrigued and lead you yada yada yada. Okay. This is why every week In synagogue, we read a passage from the Torah. Over the course of the year, we read all 5 books, beginning to end, even the boring bits. And the moment we're done, we start all over again. It's like mowing 100 miles of grass. By the time you're finished, the first acre is all weedy again. Now, something other rabbis do for their congregants is called daf yomi. It means literally a page a day. That's where we study 1 page of Torah every day. It becomes an oasis in our workaday world. We leave our troubles, our financial difficulties, our marital spats, our prostate problems all behind, and we go to a higher world. Unfortunately, this being a weekly program, I am unable to share a daf yomi with you. But I can do a daf shavua. Once a week, we can read a little from the Torah, ask some questions, and become better people. Well, some of you. Let us begin in the beginning. See how that works? Yes, the first book of the Bible is called Genesis. Genesis has 2 meanings. 1 positive, 1 negative. The first is positive. Genesis, the place where things have their origin or birth. The second meaning, Genesis, the place that gave us Phil Collins. So you see, from the very start, we get the dichotomy of Jewish life, the bitter and the sweet, the wrathful and the peaceful, the progressive band and the annoying drummer. Genesis, copyright 1280 BCE by Moses, renewed 1611 by King James, renewed 1997 by Time Warner. Chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Again, the dichotomy, up and down, air and ground, Beethoven and Kenny G. And the earth was without form and void. It was nothing, it was dead, it was like Copeg on a Monday night. And darkness was on the face of the deep. Note, already, the personification of the universe. People ask, is God a he? Is God a she? Is God a he, she? Maybe God's an it. But is it a he it or a she it? And does he give a she it? This is not a feminist or sexist question. God is so overwhelming and indescribable. Even the most brilliant human minds can't conceive of what he, she does. So we personify him. He made this. He did that. He got angry, which he does a lot. And the Bible even puts a face on the deep, just the way Peter Yates put Jacqueline Bissett's boobs on the deep, but that's a different story. Darkness was on the face of the deep. The face and the back and the ass, it was everywhere. You couldn't see a goddamn thing. But the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the waters. Hover, 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 hover. You couldn't see him, but he was there. Which leads to the very famous verse 3. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. Think of it. Chaos, darkness, wetness, bad smells. God says, "Let there be light," and there was light. But this leads us to a fascinating question. The universe has just been created. There's nothing, there's nobody, no one's been born, nada. And God said, "Let there be light." Who the hell is he talking to? He's all alone in the world, and he's God. He can do anything he wants. If he wants light, all he has to do is blink and boom, there's light. But no, he announces it. What? Are the planets voice activated? So how do we explain this odd behavior? I believe that Hashem made the world because he was lonely. Here he is, king of the universe, and there's nothing to do. Nobody to boss around, no rainstorms to make, no cats and dogs to watch over. He was bored, so he starts talking to himself. It happens. Sometimes when I'm alone late at night at the shul, I'll start talking to myself. In fact, considering how many people watch this channel, I may be talking to myself right now. So Hashem probably realized, "Oy, if I don't change the world around and put some living things in it, I'm gonna go crazier than Britney Spears in a biker bar." And so Hashem calls for the arrival of light, and like a flash, in a flash, there was light. And God saw the light. God saw the light. God saw the light. Well, of course he saw the light. That's why he made light, so he could see things. Stupid. God saw the light, and it was good. This wasn't new Coke. This was a good idea. He liked light. And God divided the light from the darkness. Interesting phrase there. Considering that light tends to automatically divide itself from the darkness. That's what light does. Otherwise it would be more darkness. But now Hashem has created two sides of the world, and more importantly, time itself. Verse 5, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. How lucky we are that he didn't call the light Irving, or the darkness Pickles. Imagine walking into a room and turning on the Irvings, going to a wedding and singing, "You Irving up my life." That would be terrible. Holding out a cigarette and saying, "Hey, you got an Irving?" Imagine Bruce Springsteen singing about pickles on the edge of town. "Oh, game called on account of pickles." No, Hashem picked the perfect names for what he created, day and night. Whether he was speaking English or Hebrew to himself, that's another question. But it seems when he wasn't busy pushing Irving and Pickles apart, he also invented language. The verse continues. And there was evening, and there was morning, one day. You notice, not morning and then evening. Evening first, then the morning. This is why Jewish holidays begin at sundown. Also because parking's better. More importantly, in just 5 lines of text, the universe has gone from looking like a bottle of Yoo-hoo mixed with gasoline to a world of sky and water, light and dark. And he called it a day, figuratively and literally. Probably took him all of 3 seconds, but he looked around, saw it was good, and he said, "Okay, I'm done today. I'll get a new start tomorrow, maybe make some plans." Alas, I cannot continue this tomorrow, but next week we shall pick up where we left off with more of the exciting book of Genesis. And this is as good as it gets, folks. We start hitting Leviticus with all the laws and the begats, you're gonna wish we were still talking about the creation. But seriously, my friends, study some Torah. You could do worse. Shalom again, and thank you for tuning in to this very first episode of my television program. And what's so wonderful about starting this show in early October is that it's like the Torah. Remember when I said when we were reading the Daf Shavua, we read the entire Torah week after week in the synagogue, and when we're done, we start all over again. Well, that happens this week. The night of October 4th is Simchas Torah. It means Happy Torah. We finish Deuteronomy and roll right back into Genesis all in one night. And that night, we carry the Torahs out of the ark and we sing and dance 7 times around the shul. In big synagogues, the party spills out onto the street with wine and candy and flag waving. In my synagogue, the party spills into the air shaft and everybody gets a half stick of bazooka gum. But the spirit is the same. The joy, the pride in having the books of Moses and the honor of being the chosen people. We don't get many happy holidays in this religion. Usually we're crying, we're fasting, we're praying, we're complaining. Most Jewish holidays are like a night at the Betty Ford Clinic, but not Simchas Torah. So, by all means, take advantage of this opportunity to rejoice in being a Yidlach. Go to shul, read some Torah, watch Fiddler on the Roof, whatever works for you. And if you do get a little wild and crazy with the celebrating, remember the words of the great Hillel. Don't do anything to your neighbor that you wouldn't pay $300 an hour to have them do unto you. Well, I certainly hope you have enjoyed this program and that you found something in it that stuck with you, even if it's like a chicken bone in Mama Cass's gullet. I'd like to thank a few people for making this program possible, including, believe it or not, some non-Jews. Their names include Joe Barcelona, Pat Galino, and Diane Bennett of Cablevision. So if you're suing, my gratitude also to Joe Salzone and Andy Herzman, with special kosher brownie points to Nihal Altan and Gregoire Bonnet. Last but not least, I must give a shout out to my good friend Dave Lefkowitz, host of the radio program Dave's Gone By on WGBB out in Babylon. I've been on his Sunday night program several times, and he has always treated me with the utmost respect and pleasantness, even when people complained and called me the spawn of Satan. And let us not forget Dave's gorgeous and Jewish wife, Joyce. David, you better treat her right, because if she ever dumps your tuchus, I will be... Gosh, I mean that metaphorically, because I am, of course, married to my dear wife, Miriam Libby, a woman who, even after 18 years of marriage and 19 children, has not lost her looks or her elasticity. And so, my dear friends, I hope you have enjoyed this look into my world and the world of my people. Please write to me with your comments and your suggestions. We're even setting up a special box in the basement for hate mail. And in future episodes, we hope to have a segment called Ask the Rebbe, in which you ask me questions and I poke fun at your ignorance. No, I'm kidding. Please drop me a line, say hello, or better yet, say Shalom Dammit. On behalf of myself, my dear wife, Miriam Libby, and our 19 children, Nehemiah, Josiah, Shloimi, Chana, Rivki, Yehuda, Moish, Yechezkiel, Baruch, Avigdor, Yisroel, Hepzibah, Shaul, Aliza, Shimon, Gedalia, Naphtali, and Fred, by my first marriage, and our little baby Beryl, whose head, God willing, will soon take its proper shape. This is Rabbi Sol Solomon wishing you a happy Simchas Torah from every one of me to every one of you. Hoi doi da da doi, hoi doi doi, hoi doi 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 dum bum, hoi boy da da dum boy boy bum, boy 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 boy, rubber boy boy boy, rup doi doi, roi da da doi 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 dum, roi boy boy boy, rup doi doi, roi da da doi doi boy 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 bum, yabba boy boy boy, rup doi dum, hoi da 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 doi bum, rubber boy boy boy, rup doi dum, roi doi 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 dum.